I am increasingly concerned because of the chaos that is being caused by these ICE agents that somebody is going to get seriously injured or killed. Somebody is going to get seriously injured or killed. And whether that is an ICE agent or a community member, we all know the tinderbox that could explode because of it. We all know that the federal government is looking for reasons to deploy more and more people to Minneapolis and blue cities around the country. We all know that we cannot afford to lose a single Minneapolis resident because they showed up and decided to protect their neighbors, because they showed up and decided to express their constitutional right to free speech. And so that concern is deep. It is held, by the way, not just by me and our residents and the people who are standing up behind me. The concern about getting somebody killed is also held by our police officers.
Hey, yo, what's up, guys? So that was Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey trying to gaslight the entire public, trying to paint ICE agents as the bad guys. Now, I'm curious what Democrats thought was going to be the outcome of this when they constantly push this rhetoric of ICE agents being Nazis or fascists or whatever. You've heard it all. Anyway, something bad really happened yesterday when a liberal white woman who was protesting in her vehicle got unalived by one of these ICE agents. Have a look.
No! No! Shame! Shame! Oh, fucking God! What the f***? What the f***? You just fucking... What the f*** did you do? You are fucking criminals! You're fucking criminals! What the f***? What the f***? What the actual f***?
Okay, so you guys saw what happened there. She was given a command to step out of her vehicle, yet she decided to reverse, put the car in reverse, and then drive forward ahead, even when there was an ICE agent right in front of her car with his gun drawn. That is domestic terrorism. He's an ICE agent. And they've told you already to get out of the vehicle, yet she decides to ignore his command and just drive away. If I'm that ICE agent, I'm sorry. You're going to get 3 in the chest. Like that, you are in a deadly weapon. A car is a deadly weapon. You driving towards me with a gun drawn, you're going to find out. And that's what basically happened. Unfortunately, she lost her life, but it is what it is. And you know who I blame in all this? I blame the Democrats, the paid protesters, the liberals. You are responsible for all this because these politicians have been labeling ICE agents as Nazis, fascists. What do you expect? Look at how insane some of these libtards are, standing in front of ICE agents, blocking their vehicles. What do you expect? And refusing to listen to one of their commands. He clearly told you to step out of the vehicle, and yet you decide to reverse and then drive forward even when there's an ICE agent right in front of you. I'm telling you, a car is a deadly weapon. So the moment you try and put his life in danger, in jeopardy, he's obviously going to have to defend himself. And that's what he did. Now, I want you to listen to some people, freaking out. You know what? Listen to Stephen A. Smith here because he gives a weird take.
At some point in time, you got to ask yourself, what damn country do you want to live in? At some point in time, we're going to have to ask ourselves that question. And I think the time is sooner than later. Because again, from a legal perspective, don't expect this ICE officer to be prosecuted. I'm telling you right now. She was in the car, Renee Nicole Good, 37 years of age, protesting, blocking off the streets. ICE wanted her to move. An officer got in front of the car. Another officer got to the side of the car, and then she tried to take off. And in their eyes, the Kristi Noems of the world for the Department of Homeland Security, and other folks on the right are saying, they consider it an act of domestic terrorism because she tried to run over an ICE officer.
Okay, it's not in the eyes of Kristi Noem. It is in the eyes of the law. What she did was domestic terrorism. Okay, Stephen A. He makes a lot of good points. He's trying to lean more, in the middle, but from time to time, his brain goes mush and he goes back to his liberal ways. But she 100% was committing an act of domestic terrorism when she decided to drive forward with an ICE agent right in front of her, putting his life in danger.
It's not going to be prosecuted. My point is, let's not focus on that for a second, okay? She was wrong to drive off. She should not have done that. Or she should have asked the officer, I'm pulling over. Could you move out the way, please? Instead of trying to disregard him totally to the point where you're going to take off and potentially hit him, and he moves out the way and draws his gun and shoots through the front windshield and took her out.
Exactly.
But it wasn't necessary. You could have arrested her. You could have spared the woman's life. You didn't have to.
How is it unnecessary? It was either his life, like you have to look at it in the eyes of the ICE agent. He has a car coming towards him. She has already been told to step out of the vehicle and has disobeyed his command and decides to drive forward ahead. His life is in jeopardy at that point. He has to make a decision, a split-second decision, and he made the right decision in the eyes of the law. He has to defend himself there. So Stephen A., you got to miss me with that nonsense, okay?
To kill her. We've seen plenty of incidences throughout the United States of America, historically and frequently, and recently, where people who committed crimes or people whose behavior weren't indicative of law-abiding citizens who were simply obeying law enforcement officials, we've seen them walk away alive. We've seen them walk away cuffed, but they walked away alive. So even though the law, from a literal perspective, might be on his side, the reality is that your humanity comes into question because you didn't have to kill her.
It's a split-second decision. He has no time to, process, is she going to stop or not? Or is she going to kill me by running me over? This is why the law is the law here, okay? He was well within his rights to defend himself there.
She didn't have to die. But that's the country we're living in now. We're living in a country where some people, more often than not, are becoming lawless, and law enforcement officials are not just about enforcing the law while serving and protecting, but they're also taking lives. At least in this case, that was the case.
I don't know what it is. Like, why is it so hard to listen and obey a police officer or an ICE agent's command? It is crazy to me to think that if I'm approached by a police officer who tells me to stop, I decide to drive away. You've seen all the outcomes on, social media videos, people getting shot, because you're putting the other person's life in danger. The police officer or ICE agent's life in danger. Now, I'm going to tell you, I had a situation once when I was young, like in high school. There was a fight in a residential area. There was about, 20 cars involved. We all got in. Now, we were all in the area. I didn't really have anything to do with it. I was more like a spectator. But what ended up happening was we all left the area because cops were called. I was in my friend's passenger seat. Okay, so we're leaving the subdivision in the residential area. We're at the red light, and as it turns green, we go straight. As soon as we pass the intersection, a cop pulls up from across from us, pulls us over, gets out of the vehicle. He has his gun drawn on me and the driver, and there's a couple other people in the back seat. I never actually thought about this more in depth, but if my friend was an idiot, the driver, and decided to, continue driving at that point when the gun was drawn, who knows? The cop could have shot at me or my friend. So when I think back on it, like if my friend was an idiot and decided to peel off when the cop had his gun drawn on us, he would have put, his life, my life, and my other friend's life all in danger. See, and this is why you have to listen to, law enforcement, or in this case here, ICE agents, their commands. When he tells her to step out of the vehicle 3 times, she ignores him and decides to pull ahead. Okay, so now I want you to listen to what CNN had to say, because they're going to spin this story. They have a witness on air, a resident that lives on the street, and she saw what happened.
Emily Heller is out front now, who you heard there in film in that horrifically traumatic moment. So Emily, I know you live there. This is your street. This is your home. And you're inside your house. You hear all of this commotion. Everything is starting to happen. Okay, can you tell me what happened then? You hear everything. You come outside, and then what?
I hadn't even gotten dressed. I was making breakfast. I went out. I heard the commotion. I heard whistles, which is a common sign of ICE is nearby. And I went out onto my front porch. I didn't even have shoes on. And within 60 seconds, everything had already gone down. But there was an ICE convoy that seemed to be stuck, and then there was a protester who was blocking traffic, so they couldn't progress. And she was totally peaceful, and ICE, it seemed, completely unorganized. They didn't really know what they were doing. They were screaming at her to move, move, move. And then they approached her vehicle aggressively and tried to open her door. And
Why do you think he did that? Why do you think he tried to grab her door? Because he said he asked her twice, commanded her twice to get out of the vehicle. Third time, then he opened the door. So you can say, act like she was peaceful or not, but you can tell she was disobeying commands here.
then that's when she got spooked, and she reversed her vehicle to turn her wheels to try to escape. And that's when an ICE agent stepped in front of her vehicle and said, "Stop." And then, I mean, she was already moving, and then point blank shot her through her windshield in the face.
I can't imagine what it was to see that, Emily. The way that you are laying this out, though, I just want to repeat and make sure that I'm clear, and please correct me if I say anything wrong. You're saying that what you saw was disorganized ICE, but then when they tried to get her to stop, she got.
Didn't she say she was still inside when it all happened in 60 seconds? How did she know ICE was disorganized? This is the narrative that CNN is trying to portray, that ICE is disorganized. They don't know what they're doing, and it's just utter chaos. It's utter chaos because you have been pushing this rhetoric about ICE agents, and then that is, got all these paid protesters and libtards out on the streets trying to prevent them from doing their job. Just let them do their job. You can protest peacefully on the sidewalk or whatever, but let them do their job. Don't invade their space while they're working.
Spooked. She reversed her car to turn her wheels to get away, and that was when the officer stepped in front.
They were telling her to leave. They were telling her to move, and then all of a sudden seemed like they were trying to get her. So they were telling her to move.
They told her to move. She didn't listen. Then they said, "All right, get out of the car." They're going to probably most likely put her under arrest for, blocking, invading, impeding them.
And then in a split second, they were saying they were trying to get her out of the car. So it was like she was trying to move. Once they were trying to get in her car, she was of course she wanted to leave at that point. They were extremely aggressive. Yeah,
she would have been scared, obviously.
All she had to do was comply.
As he posted a video saying that it's lucky the ICE agent was alive, and I just want to be clear: the ICE agent is walking afterwards, and we know that from anything that he had in the hospital, he's fine and he's out. But President Trump.
Okay, so this is the media spin job that they're going to be, doing for the next 24 hours, trying to flip the script here. But you saw what happened here, and the rhetoric that the mainstream media, these Democrat politicians, they've been pushing on ICE. Like, again, this is all their fault. I put all the blame on them. The rhetoric that they've been spewing about the ICE agents, this is all on them.